Understanding employment and reasonable accommodations.
Hello, I'm Mary. I work for protection and advocacy for people with disabilities. I want to share information with you about reasonable accommodations in the workplace and how you can request them. This information is very general. If you have specific questions about your work environment, we will provide information about organizations that may be able to answer them after the video. Title I of the Americans with Disabilities Act, ADA, applies to employers with 15 or more employees. Title I does two things. It prohibits discrimination against a qualified individual with a disability and requires employers to provide reasonable accommodations for a person with a disability. Person with a disability means that someone has a physical or mental impairment that limits one or more life activities. Qualified individual means person has the skills, education, and other requirements for the job. It also means you can do the job with any reasonable accommodations you need. A reasonable accommodation is any accommodation that allows a person with a disability to do the same work that a person without a disability can do. Some examples include using a video phone to make phone calls, equipment that enables a person with vision loss to read documents, or use of a sign language interpreter during a job interview. When an employee with a disability requests an accommodation, that request is analyzed to see if it is indeed reasonable and doesn't cause an undue burden to the employer. Accommodations can be requested both for the hiring process and for the job itself. How to request an accommodation. We suggest any accommodations requests be made in writing. Ask your employer if they have a policy for requesting accommodations. If they do, you should follow the policy. If not, a simple letter should be enough to start the process. This letter should include a number of things. Number 1, identify yourself as a person with a disability. Number 2, let your employer know you are requesting accommodations under the ADA. Number 3, identify your specific problematic job tasks. Number 4, identify your accommodations ideas. Number 5, ask for your employer's accommodations ideas too. Number 6, refer to medical documentation you have attached to your letter. Number 7, request your employer respond in a reasonable time. Remember to date your letter and keep a copy for yourself. Give the other copy to your supervisor or someone in the Human Resources Department. Keep in mind that employers are not required to provide accommodations that will cause an undue burden. That generally means that an accommodation will be difficult to provide or expensive. Each request should be analyzed individually based on the job itself, the resources of the employer and the needs of the employee. Also, if an accommodation is an undue burden, the employer has the responsibility to try and find an accommodation that is not an undue burden and a better fit for both the employee and the employer. Where you can find more information, I will explain how each can help. JAN, Job Accommodations Network. JAN has many resources to help both the employer and the employee in the accommodations process. For example, they have many accommodation suggestions divided by disability type. Also, examples of accommodations request letters. You can find their website at askjan.org. NAD, National Association for the Deaf. NAD has many publications and resources related to the ADA and effective communication for the deaf. You can find their website at nad.org. EEOC, Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. The EEOC helps with employment discrimination. It could be disability related, gender related, race related, or other categories too. The EEOC also have the option of doing an intake phone call or asking general questions through video phone. That number is 844-234-5122. You can also find their website at eeoc.gov. If you have general questions or feel you have requested an accommodation that has been denied, you can contact us. There are 3 different ways you can contact us. You can call 1-866-275-7273. If you need to use the TTY, you can. That number is 1-866-232-4525. The last option, you can use email. Email info@pendasc.org. PNA provides full communication access, and staff are trained on how to communicate with the deaf. Also, PNA services are free.